The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think he missed the pit completely. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eklund. The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think he missed the pit completely. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eklund.
Last time on the Blondies MX5 World Tour.
Sam McAleer is starting on first in his bright orange car. They're all going into turn one side by side. It looks like Sam McAleer is going to get in front of Sergio Moore, and Timo Tuliainen goes wide entering the oval, and Jan Freitas is going to get in front of him, and we've got the top two drivers with a huge lead over the pack led by João Freitas, as Sergio Moore actually loses it in turn one. Doesn't hit anything, but has now lost position to João Freitas.
Yeah, and we see Richard Eklund, he actually spun around and he's losing position very fast.
Oh,
McAleer
off track. Sam McAleer completely off the track. He will lose his first place. Freitas now in the lead, and Koolmans.
We have Jan Koolmans going inside. Freitas now passing in on this start finish line coming into turn one.
He managed to get from 6th to 1st in 6 laps.
As Freitas makes a move on Koolmans, it's all happening.
His car is much more ahead if he can brake late enough. It looks like he might. Jan Koolmans looks like he's going to try to defend his position, and now has the inside for the next corner, and that's going to allow João Freitas. His momentum has kept him up there, and he's going to be able to get the position going into turn 3 and 4. The top 9 cars, João Freitas to Tuomas Halonen, are all within a group, and they have about an 8-second gap to Richard Eklund in 10th. Jan Koolmans into 1 goes right into the wall. He almost lost it and hit the wall. That's going to do a lot of damage, and he's sent way back and through the pack.
Our new leader, by the looks of it, is João Freitas right now. Timo Tuliainen right behind Freitas at this point in time.
Trevor Max spinning in turn 1. He was bumped on the rear by Sam McAleer in 5th place, so he now loses it in turn 1. He didn't have any damage besides that small contact on the rear bumper, but he has lost quite a few positions.
Tuliainen keeps coming up right onto the back of Freitas in the oval, but then doesn't try to make any moves. I think he's just sizing him up, Ethan. McAleer's falling back a little bit. He's just been passed by 2 cars. Has he got a problem? As he spins, I think he does have a problem. He spins the car, manages to catch it. Great driving from McAleer, managed to catch that one.
He's coming out of his pit right now. It's going to be very close. They actually touch, I think. And João Freitas is going to beat Giorgianis out of the pit lane.
Coming out right now, where is he in relation to the leaders?
He's in the first position, but João Freitas actually has more speed coming out to turn 1 and goes by. Will Giorgianis get it too? No. Timo Tuliainen slots right between those two as he comes out of pit lane. As McAleer loses it in turn 1, McAleer spun while behind Sergio Moore, and he smashes into the wall. Uros Gelankos hit the wall as well. I think he clipped McAleer, and he has exited his car and is out of the race. Giorgianis going to try to make it 3 wide. He's poking to the middle. He's looking, and it looks like he's going to get the speed. And Giorgianis, was it Timo Tuliainen just ahead of Giorgianis, 11/1000th of a second, and João Freitas is going to get the 3rd position. Amjad Yaman, Trevor Mack, and Richard Eklund, they all 3 crashed and went straight into the wall. Amjad Yaman and Richard Eklund were the only 2 able to finish.
Timo Tuliainen winning, Janis just behind him. João Freitas, Timo 4th, Thomas Hallen 5th.
To the Okayama International Circuit, home of Round 7 in the Blondies MX5 World Tour, and we're bringing it to you live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Today's race is the thriller Dance to the Flag in homage to the classic Michael Jackson album. I'm Joe Peak. With me in the booth today is Richard Losberg. Hey Richard.
Hi Joe, very excited to be here. Round 7 should be good.
Absolutely. Also in the wings, we have a new face in the booth, Bill Zahn. Glad you could join us, Bill.
Thank you, Joe. I know how to stay out of the way on the track, and I'll see if I can stay out of the way from behind the mic as well.
We don't want you too much out of the way. Of course, our director is none other than Giancarlo Lenzi. And so, Richard, we're on the full version of Okayama tonight, which I personally prefer over the shorter version, just a lot more passing opportunities. What are your thoughts on this track?
You know, Joe, I personally, I never used to like Okayama. Those corners towards the end of the track there before you get to the last corner, I used to hate them. But with practice, I have grown to quite enjoy this track. There are 11 turns on this track. You have a very long straight around the back end there. Lots of twisty corners, a very technical track. It should be the drivers who can deal with technicalities that will be at the top there.
Well, it looks like they're gridding up. We got just a bit of a late start on the broadcast, so we're not going to be able to bring you a lap guide, unfortunately. But real quick, let's run through the top 10 of this field. The quick 6 reversed. Uros Gelankos is in the first place on pole. Timo Tuliainen is starting in 2nd. Jan Koemans is in 3rd. João Freitas is in 4th. Richard Eklund is in 5th. Guillermo Raito is in 6th. And it sounds like the cars are starting to rev up, so they're getting close to the start here, guys. And real quick, let me go through the rest of this. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, they're getting ready to go now as they bring up the lights. Waiting for that green flag. There waves the green, and off they go. It looks like a clean start for mostly everybody. Timo Tuliainen is hold on to Uros, but not quite of a good start for him. João Freitas has a really good run up the inside of Jan Koemans, and he gets really close to them. It looks like everybody's clean, although Uros is off. Uros is off the track, so he is set way back after wasting that pole. Everybody else seems to go clearly through, though, Richard.
Yeah. Very unfortunate. I was looking for Uros to get a good start and maybe challenge today, but Timo currently in the lead, followed by Jan Koemans, and then after Jan we have João Freitas, so that's a top 3 at the moment. Let's see what Uros can do from that really bad start there. Very unfortunate for him.
Yes, it seems like a wasted opportunity. And we're getting word we got another car off. We'll have to send Bill to see if he can figure out who that is. Meanwhile, Timo Tuliainen is certainly taking advantage of this opportunity himself as he starts to streak away. Behind him, he's got Koomans, and Koomans has been able to overtake him in the past, Richard, but seems like he's got a little bit of ground to make up, although I don't doubt he'll make short work of that.
Well, Jan Koemans has got a couple of things to prove here tonight, Joe. First of all, he's down in the championship points. I think he's in about 6th place at the moment, so that's a very unusual place for him. And also, he had a very bad last week at Charlotte Road, so I'm pretty sure he would want to make amends here today. Currently sitting in 2nd place. Let's see how he goes.
And we have an accident somewhere on the field here. It looks like Steve Brockman got into someone. I'm going back and watching right now to see what exactly happened. Maybe we could get a replay up. Oh, and it looks like Matthias Sowini was in it. Or no, I'm sorry, that was... who is that? That's Jonathan Keir, not Matthias Sowini. I'm sorry. So... it looks like Jonathan Keir just went a little wide on that 7th corner and wiggled, and then there was an accident that happened behind him as well. Who was that? That was Simon Ayres who got into that as well, so a number of cars out. Meanwhile, let's hop back up to the front, see how things are going back there now that we've kind of figured out what happened. Looks like Timo's kind of holding position, Richard, so he isn't too bothered at the moment.
That's right. Yeah, just on that accident, I see a number of guys... approaching the pits. You've got Keir, Mr. Sand, Simon Ayres, Steve Brockman, so a whole bunch of guys involved there. But let's get back to the action up front here.
And
At
Sam
the moment,
McAleer has served a
we've got,
stop and go.
I'm watching João Freitas, and he is just sitting there behind Jan Koemans, who's following Timo Tuliainen. Nothing doing at the moment, Joe. They seem to be fairly civilized. Richard Eklund just behind them. And then Uros Gelankos, so he's still in it. He's in 5th place, and not a bad place to be in this sort of company, Joe.
Yeah, and Bill, I heard you mention that Sam is serving his penalty. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Sam had some trouble last race, and he got his penalty rating up to a 4, so he'll do a stop and go right now, and he'll be good for next race.
And in the meantime, I see Jan Koemans got a little squirrely coming through turn 8 there, and that gave Freitas an opportunity, but now that's put him off, and Eklund takes a look on the inside, but everybody kind of slots back in where they were, so a little bit of a scare, but it's a long way to go. We're only on lap 2, so not a time to really be making wild moves for these guys, Richard.
Yeah, but at the same time, Joe, you will notice that that's given Timo Tuliainen a little bit of a break, so he's got a good lead now, maybe a second and a half on Koemans, which on a track like this is quite a large gap, to be honest. This is a driver's track. It's none of this drafting rubbish that they get into on the tracks like Charlotte, etc. So you really have to be on it all the time and to make your statement, because you're not going to get any free ride here.
Dylan Murcutt with an off, but he's back on the track.
So people having trouble. It was tricky weather conditions set up for this. They're going by the actual weather conditions over in Japan right now. Currently only 69 degrees, so a bit chilly and a bit oversteery from what I understand, Richard.
Yeah, not only that, we've got a fairly light breeze, 10 miles an hour. Actually, 10 miles an hour, that's about 16 or so kilometers. That's fairly stiff. A 16-kilometer breeze is starting to get up there, so that is going to play a part in this race without a doubt. As we see the top 4 just going around that last section of the track. It's very tight around here, and you really have to be on your game to be able to master this track. The top 4, we see Eklund coming up really close there to Freitas. Doesn't make a move because there is virtually no passing on this track. It's that tight. You really just have to pick the moment, otherwise you're going to be involved in an accident here. Timo's still leading quite nicely there, Joe.
Yeah, the second half really is not conducive to passing opportunities, although the first one has a number of them. And you'll see as they go down the front straightaway here, coming into turn 1, if you get a decent draft, you will have a chance to try and sneak one in. Everybody kind of stretches out right now, although for a while, like you mentioned, in that back half, they were really getting tightened up. I have noticed Uros Gelankos has been kind of hunting down Richard Eklund. He's been trying to make up for that early mistake, it seems like. He's holding station maybe only 2 car lengths behind. Now, you mentioned that the draft really doesn't come into play, and I will say that on that back straightaway, if you're close enough, you can get a good opportunity to try and outbrake someone, because the draft will really pull you in as we see them enter that portion right now.
Yeah, I should correct myself. The draft will play a minor role, though. Somebody's off, I'm hearing. Let's see who that might be. We have somebody, Hiro Kanaya, not in the proceedings anymore. Dujan Boldrin's out. Somebody's left to the pit stall. Simon Ayres. A whole bunch of guys.
I'm hearing that Thomas Torp is one of them. I see Marco Mogren has some damage. His car is weaving, so he's gotten severely damaged. In fact, he's into the wall right now. So poor Marco is having a bad start to this race, Bill.
Yeah, Marco is a very good driver, and he's looking to get into the top 10 in points, and that's going to hurt him.
So we're going to see what exactly happened to Marco here on the replay. It looked like it was something involving turn 4 there, which was Atwood Corner, and I'm actually trying to pull that up at the moment. Can you see it, Richard?
Yeah, Mark, just a comment on Marco. I can't see what you're referring to right there, but I'm looking at Jay Yanis just in that same sort of area. Jay's got damage on the back of his car. It's stoved right in on the right-hand side, so he's obviously been involved there. Marco is taking a tow, so he's right out of it at the moment, Joe.
Yeah, and as you could see from that replay, Jared Yanis just tipped Thomas Torp, and unfortunately Marco got into the back of Jer, and that was that for them. So, like you said, let's hop back up to the front of the pack real quick here. Timo still holding on to that lead fairly well. In fact, Kumans hasn't really closed that gap yet, Richard, which really surprises me.
That's the point I was trying to make earlier, Joe. This track, you can't be a hell of a lot faster than the next person. If you're all good drivers, you're going to be within tenths of each other, not within sort of, a second or half a second. So Timo is obviously fast enough. He's got a bit of the lead. Jan Koemans has it all to do. He's got Freitas right behind him, just waiting to pounce if he does make a mistake. Richard Eklund as well, just behind Freitas. So this top 4, and Uros Gelankos, we shouldn't discount him. He's in 5th place. They're all within a couple of car lengths of each other. So I'm just looking for any one of these guys to make a mistake and they'll lose that position. And it's tough to make up a position here, Joe.
Yes, especially if you don't find yourself close enough to take advantage of that draft. Meanwhile, I'm looking back at 7th and 8th between Jer and Amjad. After that incident, Jer is kind of fallen into the clutches of Amjad, who takes a look coming around turn 8 there, and there's nothing doing. They're going into Hobbs right now, and Amjad's still holding on right to the back of that bumper and doesn't really seem to have an opportunity. We'll see if he has something going for him onto the front straight as they get close to the final corner here, Bill. Now, Amjad is kind of known, even though he's only back in 8th, for really taking advantage of, opportunistic stuff such as his strategy and just playing patient there, Bill.
Yeah, but I think people have learned from him. And right behind Amjad is a newcomer, Thomas Zebo. He's here in 9th and running very well. He got in because he's really fast. He wanted to race this race. Said, let me in. I can race with these guys, and he's doing okay.
Yes, and, a top 10 is certainly nothing to scoff at in this series. It's very difficult. You got to be one of the faster guys, as we see some guys go off coming around turn 2 there, which is a very fast left-hander. The car likes to push around there, although today, with how oversteery it is, they're definitely not experiencing that. But Amjad has dropped just a little bit off, Richard. We'll see if he can pull him in the draft.
Yeah, let's just talk a little bit about that. So Jay has got some damage on his car. I would have thought that Amjad will be able to catch and pass him, but of course the track is very tight. Tamar Zabo, I am familiar with this guy. He has been racing.
I'm sorry to break in, Richard. I'm sorry, but we've got a battle for the lead going on between Tulianen and Jan Koemans, and that's backing everybody up as now Eklund and Freitas are getting into it. They're coming around turn 7 right now onto that little short back stretch, and it looks like Koemans has got it. We had an accident back there. It looks like Guillermo Raito was starting to lose it. Meanwhile, we're still, and Tulianen is really dropping back. He's dropped behind Freitas as Koemans is now leading him. Freitas is up into 2nd, so it's all shuffling it around, Richard.
Yes, and this is what I was talking about earlier. You can see everybody go into attack mode the moment somebody makes a mistake. So obviously Timo made a small mistake while we were watching those other guys. And Jan Koemans attacked, Freitas attacked, Eklund is right on him. So He's got it all to do, even Uros Gelankos. And one of the guys we haven't mentioned, in fact, is Guillermo Raito. He's not far behind Uros Gelankos, so I think he may feature in this race still before the end, Joe.
Yeah, he gathered it back up. He's looking fine though.
Good stuff from Raito. He is known for his car control, that's for sure. And it looks like Tulianen is not giving up yet as another off from Freitas coming through turn 2. Tulianen's holding on to the back of that second place car, that green and red car of Freitas, as they're coming towards 4. Under braking, he closes up well, takes a little peek to the inside, but he's not quite close enough to be able to try and make a pass. Now he's really going to have something as he's well within the draft coming down the back straightaway, and it looks like he's going to have an opportunity if he really wants to make a move. Like you said, it really bunches everybody up as soon as someone makes a mistake, and Freitas goes defensive, coming across that kink up towards the braking zone, and it looks like he's going to be able to defend unless Tulianen can get the crossover. Nothing doing. He backs up Richard Eklund behind him, but nobody's really able to make a move, and Tulianen starts to lose it. He holds on to it, but now he spins the opposite way, and he's got to come back onto the track. He doesn't hit the wall, thankfully, but he recovers, and he's lost a large amount of time, Richard.
Yes, I'm just watching him right now, and he's coming back on track. He's a few seconds behind the guy in front of him, which will be, of course, Raito. By the way, we've got Eklund and Uros Gelankos battling it out as they go around those last sequence of turns, coming to the last corner very, very soon. Gelankos got the better of that one, and Raito is now looking like a shark to attack Richard Eklund as well. So we have a change in the positions quite dramatically in that lap, Joe.
Boy, Gelankos, I'm impressed with him being able to really hop back on the train like that and try to pick up some spots he lost as Eklund looks into the inside and coming into turn 1 on Gelankos. He outbrakes him quite cleanly, although he dips a little bit of a tire into the dirt, but doesn't seem to have hurt him because that was on the inside. Now Gelankos under threat from Raito, Richard.
Yes, here comes Raito now. He's right on the back of Gelankos, who's right onto Richard Eklund still. Gelankos and Raito doing a fantastic job here. Up ahead of them, of course, we have Freitas and Koolmans. And Freitas is attacking Koolmans. Let's see what he can do on the straightaway heading down towards that very tight technical section, Joe.
Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead, Bill.
The quick 6 kind of stirs the milk, but after 4 or 5 laps, you see the cream rising to the top. Koolmans, Eklund, Freitas, the names you know.
And it looks like, though, Freitas has at least got Koolmans' numbers somewhat around this course because he's been holding on fairly well. In fact, he was threatening, but didn't quite have anything to try and make a pass coming down that back straightaway. But I'm very impressed with how he's been able to hold the pace. Now, talking about Uros Gelankos, who has dropped a little bit off of Eklund there, Bill, what are your thoughts on him? Because he's a newcomer to this series, and he's done pretty well, but he's been making some mistakes today.
Yeah, he's not used to quite being up this close, but you got to be impressed by the way he's going. He started on the pole, had a few problems, but he's holding 4th. You know, little mistakes from the guys up front. Podium's in sight.
And podiums count very much in this series with how steep the competition is, so if you can work your way up there, you've definitely earned it, no matter what method you've had to use, as long as you're not pushing anybody out of the way in the process. But as we watch these guys kind of hold station right now, let's jump back a little bit farther in the pack, see if we can find a battle going on. Going back to Amjad once again, new boy Zebo has gotten by him. It looks like Amjad is trying to find his way past, but somewhere we didn't see that Tomas has made a move on Amjad there, Richard.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Tomas when we had that accident and we had to go to the accident. Tomas is a very, very good driver. Very fast, a little bit reckless, I've noticed. I've been racing against this guy in the Grand Touring Cup in the MX-5. He's fast. The other thing I wanted to say, Joe, as we just watched this battle a little bit, Amjad is not letting him get away. He's right on the back of him. We take for granted, you know, guys like Freitas and Koolmans being fast. And then we talk about Uros Gelankos, you know, kind of being the newcomer and trying to make a statement in this race. But really, I'm telling you, all of these guys at the top 6, top 7, top 10 maybe, they are very, very fast. Put them in another series with your standard, ordinary drivers. They just they make mincemeat of them.
And Tulianen
but in
is
this
off.
company, go ahead.
Tulianen is off and into the wall, coming off of turn 7. Let's see what exactly happened to him there.
Dear, oh dear. Yes, he's going very, very slowly at the moment, Joe.
He got in the grass.
Severe damage. I wouldn't be surprised to see him heading into the pits. I think his race is done. Yes, he's going to the pits as we speak. Not a good race for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, he just pushed a little wide on that turn 7, which is very easy to do. That's a very tough corner, especially with today's weather. Either it oversteers or it just understeers you right off. It's hard to hit it just right. So bad day for Tulianen. Let's hop back to that battle we were looking at earlier because it's still going on. I noticed that Thomas put a really late move on Jer. He took a look on the inside of the hairpin last time by, but thankfully nothing really came of it. I was afraid he was going to make contact. Behind them, meanwhile, as if they weren't, two fries short of a Happy Meal, they got the Big Mac coming into the mix now.
Yeah, I tell you what, just going back, Big Mac's, yes, he's certainly on the back there of Amjad Yaman and Jake Tucker just behind him. So a few other guys coming into the picture there. But just going back to Tomas, he's now on the attack on the outside of Giannis. Giannis is a little bit defensive at this point. I was trying to make the point that Tomas does not hang around. He attacks and is not afraid to stick his nose in, as you can just see him doing now. He's on the inside for this next turn. Giannis has to go wide. He's being pushed wide, but he manages to do that. That's fantastic driving on the part of Giannis. Tomas Zebo is now under attack from Amjad Yaman because he had to check up just a little bit there. Joe, this is a good battle.
Yeah, fantastic battle. Everyone's staying really on top of things, too. Amjad made sure and got out of it, and it looks like Jake Tucker is even coming into the play now. And, whoa, they get really backed up coming around that turn 9. It's, amazingly, nobody hits anybody. But I was impressed by that move by Tomas, Bill, even though he wasn't able to pull it off, because that's a little bit of a trick. If you know your way around this course, to be able to hold on around the outside of that hairpin, you can have the inside for that next corner.
He's making a good first showing. And also, it looks like Timo is in the pits, and I'm not sure if he gets back in, his day is done academically. I mean, it's there's nothing going on there for him. Also, we've lost top runner Sam McAleer had to resign. So there's 2 top names out of the race. Back to you, Joe.
So apparently this is really going to mix up the championship chase.
Yeah, Joe, let me in there. We've got Fredis now right on the attack of Koolmans. They're going down the back straight there. He's on the outside. Koolman's actually going defensive. That goes to show how much respect he has here for Freitas. Freitas just doesn't have enough to beat him to the corner entry. So they're going to go back in line again, Joe. Sorry.
I have watched 1,000 of these races. I've never seen Koolman go defensive down the straightaway.
So apparently he thinks that Freitas does have something for him. We are only on lap 11 currently between these guys, so we are getting close to about halfway through. We're probably going to be seeing pit stops soon. It sounds like a number of big names are out of this mix, so this could be a really good opportunity for some guys towards the back to try and shuffle their way up and get some good points hauls. Meanwhile, Freitas is really looking to add to his win count because I believe he only has 1 or 2 so far. Is that correct, Richard?
Yep, Freitas only has 1 win, I believe. But Joe, we just behind that, we have another group of 3 cars with Jelenko, Eklund, and of course Raito. These guys are also battling. You can see the sand flying as they come out of the exit of the last turn and go down the front straight away, heading into that very, very fast right-hander. Richard Eklund has a bit of a look, decides he's not close enough, and goes back into line. So just generally speaking on what you were saying, this is a very, very interesting season. We have the top runners from last season not having it all their own way, Joe. So a lot of the other guys are having the opportunity. I think that's got to do with the quick 6 that Bill has organized. A great idea. As we see right on the back of Eklund, but can't make anything happen there. Eklund now attacking Jelenko, Joe.
Yeah, and it looks like that Gelankos might not have gotten as good as an exit as he wanted. Meanwhile, I'm keeping half an eye up at the front because once again, Koumans is going defensive on Freitas. Freitas, though, kind of backs out of it, actually. So I think Freitas is playing a patient game here. I think he might be waiting for a late pass or possibly try to jump Koumans in the pits.
Maybe so. But I tell you what, trying a desperate pass into that first turn
Koumans
off the
is
back
off.
straight
Koumans is
is,
off, and he's hit
not
by
easy.
Freitas.
And we have a big accident here in front. Some back
Koumans got
marker
loose
was
from the
just
lead and
involved there. That was Koumans. Koumans involved in an accident with Freitas. They're still going, but at the moment, Koumans has a damaged car, and Freitas is in the lead. What sort of state is Freitas' car in, Joe?
Well, it looks like he took a bit of a tap on the back of Koumans when Koumans started to come around, so his straight line speed is definitely going to be damaged. Koumans might have handling problems, judging by the way he got hit. But wow, talk about mixing things up, Bill. It looks like this is not going to be a straight fight whatsoever around here.
yeah, Koumans got tagged pretty good by Yao. I'd be surprised if Freitas is going to be able to hold on to the lead. And, it's like kind of criticizing the smile on Mona Lisa. But one of the things that all the drivers have said about Koumans is if you pressure him and you pressure him and you pressure him, you can get him to make a mistake.
Well,
Yep, that's correct. At the moment, just having a look at the front end of Freitas' car, it looks pretty second-hand, so he definitely has some damage. And up behind him comes Uros Gelankos really strongly. So, I think you're right, Bill. He's not going to be able to hold on to this, although he is one of the better drivers around. Eklund also behind Uros Gelankos, looking strong. So that's where we are at the moment. Big changes in this race, Joe.
Yeah, and if I was Gelankos, I'd be counting my lucky stars because this is a great opportunity for him as he closes up under braking on Freitas into that hairpin. And I'm hearing that Big Mac is headed into the pits, so pit stops are kicking off. And I was going to say, Gelankos, with Freitas damaged and probably on the back foot here, this could be a good opportunity, only his 7th race in, to take a win, especially with Eklund behind him, who's kind of known for being mistake-prone.
Yes, that is true. Don't forget Raito. He's right in the mix there as well. So that's your top 4 at the moment for the viewers. We've got Freitas leading. Uros Gelankos about a car length back. Then Richard Eklund half a car length back from Uros. And then a couple of car lengths, maybe 3 or 4 car lengths back to Raito. So that's your top 4 at the moment as we start to see people heading into the pits. Whoa, Raito goes really, really wide there. Let's see what happens. Can Uros get him before the end of the front straight, Joe? He's right on the back of him. And Freitas goes defensive. So a bunch of guys feel threatened here at this track, Joe.
Well, Bill, you're a man who likes to make a wager or two. I mean, between these top 4, all very fast guys, who are you thinking might be able to pull it home?
Oh, my money's always on Fast Willie Raito. He's cool. He's calm. Look for him to be up there at the end.
So all the way from 4th place, although it's not out of the question. Oh, and it looks like just a little bit of a tap from Gelankos onto Freitas as they go into turn 4, coming out of Atwood Curve, that long exit on that right-hander. Eklund has got a fairly good run on Gelankos. He's looking to the inside. Freitas is going defensive too, so that means that Eklund is going to get the draft from him. But now Eklund decides to maybe split the two as he looks to make it 3 wide, possibly split the difference. And now Freitas is holding off Gelankos. Now Eklund sticks it on the inside of Gelankos and takes over that 2nd place spot. Gelankos is going to try and come back to him on this left-hander. Doesn't quite have it, and a smooth move from Eklund, I have to say, Richard.
Exactly, and I was going to say when Bill was talking about Rato's now making a move on the inside of Gelankos. Looks like Gelankos being attacked. Raito pulls it off. Gelankos actually backed out of that quite a lot. Thinking, well, there's been a few accidents ahead of me. I'm not going to take any chances here. So he's been shuffled back from 2nd to 4th place at the moment. And guess who is in 2nd place? Well, it is Richard Eklund. And Richard Eklund has gone into the pits.
Eklund in the pits.
So he's kicking off his pit stops. We're going to have to keep an eye on these top 4 and see who can jump who in the pit stops, or if they're going to remain the same. This gives Zhao just a little bit of breathing room because it's quite a ways back now, actually, to Raito from all that battling. So, Bill, and we've just got word that Georgianis is in the pits. I was going to say, Bill, I feel like Yao is really just getting every break he possibly can, because I would have thought with that damage he'd been down into 4th or 5th by now, but he's holding on to this first place pretty impressively.
Yeah, the hounds are after the hare, and I think it's just a matter of time before the chef is cooking up the Hassenpfeffer, because I think the damage on Freitas' car is going to be too much. Koumans has dropped into 10th. I don't have access to lap times, but he doesn't look really fast.
Well, jumping back to Koumans here, looks like last time he ran a 146.6.
He was
so
just
not terribly.
off track there, Joe. Sorry to cut in. He was off track completely, going around that little chicane section, heading into the turn, heading onto the back straight. So his car still looks pretty damaged, so I don't think he's going to feature. But go ahead. I'm sorry to cut in.
I was going to say, at a 146.6, he's not exactly going too slow. I mean, Uros Gelankos, with all that battling, hit a 149.9 last time by, so he's still not out of it completely, but this is definitely going to hurt him in the championship. Gelankos continuing to hound Raito, as they actually have closed in a fair bit on Freitas. And to touch on Bill's point, I think the question is it duck season or rabbit season around here? So, and it looks like
Raito going into the pits there, guys. So the ones who have not yet pitted are obviously Gelankos and Freitas. So all the other top guys have pitted. So we'll see what happens when they come out. Zebo is now, he's gone into the pits as well. Jake Tucker is still out there. So a big change up while everybody does their pit stops, Joe.
I'll keep an eye on. I'm sorry, Joe. I'll keep an eye on Raito and see how he comes out in relationship with Eklund.
Yeah, I was kind of keeping an eye on Eklund myself. I was going to say we're about 15 laps in, and you could go about 16 to 18 laps, so a lot of these guys seem to be employing late pit stop strategies, and you won't see too many people go too much longer. And this is a 24-lap race, which I don't think we've mentioned before. So Rato's coming out, and Richard must have ran into quite a bit of problems, because he's only coming onto the front straightaway now, and Raito was behind him before. So either Raito had a much better pit stop, or Richard ran into some trouble along the way, because he's lost a lot of time, Richard.
Hang on, I'm just watching him go down to the first turn now. Zebo in front of him. Yeah, no, he's lost a whole stack of time there.
Yeah, that was
we
really
have
costly.
got a bunch of the other guys. Raito is the favorite at the moment. Who's in front of him? Let's have a look. Oh, Koumans in front of him. I think he'll make short work of Koumans, who's not really in the race anymore. Giannis is still out there, Joe. He's still fighting hard. And a few of the other guys, but to me, Freitas, Gelankos, these are the guys at the moment. Let's see what happens. If they have really good pit stops and manage to come out in their position, the fight's going to be between these two.
Very much so. I'm back up to the front, kind of watching it. It looks like Freitas is in now, and
Both
Gelankos is following.
heading in.
So both our leaders are heading in. This is really going to be decisive. With Rato's good pit stop, I think this will give us a much better idea of how things are going to shuffle out as these guys come around. Where is Raito right now? He's currently following Joseph Aero, Simon Van Doon, and who Doon is actually going in himself. And Jake Tucker continues on, so it looks like Tucker is going to take over the lead, although that is temporary. I don't believe he's put his pit stop in. In the meantime, Gelankos and Freitas are still in their stall. Where is Raito?
Rato's on the last turn.
So Raito is coming out. Let's see.
Coming down the straight.
Where is Gelankos and Freitas? So they're still in their pit stalls. And Raito is coming by right now just as they're exiting. So Raito is going to inherit the lead, Bill.
Yeah, he got him. You know what? His pit stop was so good, you start to worry a little bit. Did he take enough fuel?
That's the big question always, and Gelankos actually jumped Freitas in the pit, so Gelankos didn't even have to do anything, although this could be a good thing for Freitas if he can take advantage of the draft from Gelankos. That could allow him to keep some speed that he didn't have when he was leading, but it's all for naught between these two because Raito could still run away with it and maybe grab the win, Richard.
That's right, and we see right at the moment Gelankos really wide on the entry to that turn onto the back straight, and now we've got Freitas in a good position on the inside, but he's kind of slow and falls in behind Gelankos. But Raito has now got the bit between his teeth. I worry, along with Bill, that it was a short pit stop for him to have such a good lead. Let's find out what happens, although There are only something like 7 laps left now, Joe.
I think you had a visual example as you watched Freitas start to drop off as he was out of the draft of Gelankos down that back straightaway. But he's still trying to hunt down that purple and yellow car very hard. He's not given up yet. You got to give him credit for being a bit of a pit bull and really just holding on tight. But let's hop back a bit in the pack because we've been focusing on the front for quite a while now and see if there's anything going on. Actually, I see that Big Mac is under threat from Eklund, who actually goes by quite cleanly. And then behind them is Simon Ayres, who is actually a lap down, it looks like. So he's not in this fight. But this is currently for 8th and 9th, I believe, between these two. So we'll have to see if Big Mac can hold on the back of Eklund, maybe gain some ground.
I really miss Ayrton here because Koeman's in the front, but Koemans has not pitted, right, guys?
Now, actually, Koemans has pitted, I believe. He
Koemans has.
He took a stop shortly after he had his incident. So that's actually a very astute observation of you, Bill, because I had totally missed that. How in the world did he get up that far? He must not have that bad a damage.
I don't know. He was in 10th. I don't know how that's... I'm sorry, viewers at home. I'm sorry for missing that, but there he is.
Incredible stuff from Koemans. Even when he's struggling with damage after a very hard clip from Freitas, he's still ahead of Guillermo Raito by over 2 seconds. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But let's jump back to some of the mid-pack battles and get some of that because those guys are still pretty far apart. Let's get someone who's a little bit closer together. I'm looking right now at...
I've got somebody here. We have Zebo and MWTS. They're virtually side by side going into the tight section there. Zebo makes a clean pass, or rather the other way around, that MWTS backed right out of that. Can try to come back at him again. So there's a good battle going on here for what is 7th and 8th place, Joe.
That's something I have to admire about Amjad. One of my favorite phrases, discretion is the better part of valor. He knows when there's no point in slowing both of you down. He's going to just slot in behind Zebo, and if you watch here, he's going to look for an opportunity to come back at him because these two seem very similarly paced. And as we hear that Koemans goes a bit off. But yeah, I have a feeling with their similar pace that Amjad is just looking for the right time to get by. He knows that it's not worth trying to slow each other up, especially with Eklund right behind them.
Yeah. Richard Eklund is the one that's puzzling me at the moment. He was up near the front before the pit stops, battling for 2nd or 3rd place. All of a sudden, we've had some pit stops, and he is way back in 8th place. And it doesn't look like he's even, challenging or trying to pass these guys in front of him. I wonder if he's got a bit of a problem there, Bill.
Yeah, I don't think so. This thing was a horrible pit stop. But I think if we look back to when I mentioned that Koemans didn't look good on the track. He was driving his, let me choose my words carefully. He was driving his rear end off. But remember, Joe checked the lap times, and he said the lap times were good. I think Koemans made up a ton of time.
Yep, and back to this battle here, Joe, with Eklund, MJ, and Zebo. Eklund now pressuring MJ and going on the outside. Let's see what does MJ do. He doesn't. Oh, yes, he goes in deep. And they're going to go in side by side. Eklund on the outside still. He will have the run into the next corner. And he does take it. Again, we have a crossover attempt from MJ trying to get back in. But Eklund will have none of it. And so Eklund does take that spot. And now he'll probably go and hunt down Tomas Zebo.
Yeah, Eklund actually kind of had a bit of a boost from being in the draft from Zebo there. So it looks like it was a double whammy against Amjad to try and defend against him. Really good driving from Eklund. That was a smooth move with that pass around the outside and then the switchback. And it looks like Amjad is actually losing ground on Eklund. So both between Zebo and Eklund, it looks like Amjad is starting to lose out a bit as he's got, who is that behind him? Trevor Mack starting to gain a little bit of ground.
Yeah. The thing is, you'll notice on tight technical tracks like this, Joe, that drivers have their favorite corners, the ones they fast at, and then they have corners that, they don't particularly like and are not fast at. They'll just go around that very cautiously. So I find that on a track like Okayama, that is the case. You find guys who are brilliant around that really technical area. and on the straights here they're not that good. So, you know, I wouldn't put it past MWTS to come back at Eklund, but certainly he's made a bit of an escape, and he's definitely hunting down Zebo right now.
Well, one thing that I want to just bring back to the front that we mentioned a little bit before, Freitas using that draft of Uros Gelankos. He has really been making good with it, because despite his damage, he's holding on to the back of Gelankos, and it doesn't look like he's really attempting any passes, but he's just utilizing that break in the air to try and hold on to that 4th place that he's got right now. Really smart driving from him. Meanwhile, I hear that Arthur Chan and Simon Van Doon are getting pretty close together, and that is currently for 12th and 11th. Chan hasn't been having the greatest of seasons after coming off a win last season, Bill. What do you think is really going on that's holding him back this year?
I think it's the rookie crop. I think he just got just behind the niche of all the talent that got in. He's having trouble finding his way. And I want to give a shout out to running in 10th is a Jake Tucker. You know, we don't say much about him, but he held the lead for a while, and he's got a comfortable top 10 in that pink Pepto-Bismol car.
Yes, he's been doing very well, and I have to say he's impressed. He's taken a couple top 10s so far this season, and it looks like he's really capitalizing on some of the mistakes that have been happening in this race. We've seen a lot of them from the top cars and all up and down the field. So even though Jake is running kind of a quiet race by himself, sometimes you have to just be thankful for those that you can get out of everybody's way and just run it as high as you can, and just focus on not making mistakes. Up ahead of him, we see a lot of dust going, and that would be Trevor Mack, Amjad Yaman, and Richard Eklund all squeezing as much as they can out of the cars. In fact, Richard Eklund is right up onto the back of Zebo once again, Richard.
Yeah, I knew that he'd be in attack mode because he's got a sniff that he can grab that position. Looking at Zebo right now, he's going down the back straight. He's going defensive. Richard Eklund saying, okay, what's your plan, buddy? I'm right behind you. He goes to the outside. So he did make the passing attempt before on the outside, but Zebo goes in deep, doesn't allow him to get that outside move. So no, Zabo's very clever there, and fast as well, not allowing Richard Eklund to grab the spot there, Joe.
Zebo currently holding 6th in that black and white car, and Eklund in the red, black, and gold Lotus car behind him. I love that paint job, by the way. With these two battling, it's allowed the green and white car of Amjad Yaman start to close up on him, so this is exactly what he wants. So 6th, 7th, and 8th continuing to stay hot throughout this race, and we've actually got about 3 laps left, so it's starting to be all for all the marbles.
Well, you know, we missed it completely, didn't we? All of us. Yeah, we had Koolmans involved in a pretty horrible crash there, and we all discounted him, and guess what? He is leading this race and leading it comfortably by almost 3.5 seconds over Raito. Bill fancied Raito for the win, and Raito has proven that he's just been steady. I don't think he's been involved in any incidents. He's in 2nd place. Uros Gelankos is probably about another 2-3 seconds back there. And Freitas, who's obviously fighting that car, Joe. The car is not really going as well as he would like. But he's hanging on to the back of Uros Gelankos pretty well. And you've got in 5th place, Jay Yanis with a car that looks like it, even a second-hand shop wouldn't have it. But he's still in there fighting as well, Joe.
You know, I was thinking about the situation with Koolmans, and you remember when he had that accident shortly after, all those top 4 guys were duking it out quite a bit, and I remember looking at the lap times of guys like Gelankos running 49.9s, and if Koolmans was running 49...
Sorry guys, we've got a battle, Zebo and Eklund. Eklund really tried to push his point there, but Zebo, I'm taking my hat off to Zebo. He will have none of it. I don't care if you're Richard Eklund, that you've won a few of the Blondies races, and I'm the new boy. I'm not backing down for you, Richard. And Richard's not having it all his own way at all with Thomas Zebo here, Joe.
Yeah, apparently Zebo cannot be intimidated, or at least not today, from what we've seen, you know, knocking on wood for that commentator's curse. Amjad, in the meantime, is really caught up to the back of these guys, so this has definitely helped him. Back to my point earlier, what I was saying was that I think all that battling between those top 4 is maybe what did it for Koolmans. If he was in clear air that entire time, then he was just running, you know, hot laps the whole time, while those guys were just holding each other up for seconds at a lap.
Yeah, I am amazed though, as he goes really wide. The car is damaged, there's no doubt. I mean, if you look at the rear of the end of the car on the left side, the wheel is sticking right out. You can just about see only wheel. You can't see any fenders.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that battle between Zebo and Eklund is really heating up, and they actually make contact as they come through turn 2. This is going to allow Amjad to go on through. Zebo tries to wheel his car back around as he spins it across the track, and he hits the wall yet again. Eklund continues on as he gets passed by Big Mac, so he loses a position, but really Amjad Yaman is the winner of those 3.
Absolutely, and in fact, Jake Tucker has gone past Eklund. Eklund doesn't look like he has a lot of damage there, but you know what? As we see, Zebo hitting the wall once again. He's trying to get going. I think he's just taken the toe. He's back in the pits now. So he was always at risk because he's a tough driver. He's a take no prisoners type of driver. Eklund's kind of the same. It was always going to be the two of them tangling and possibly coming together there, Joe, which happened.
Well, it looks like Richard Eklund is not too happy, judging by the radio chatter that I'm seeing. So we'll have to get their thoughts possibly after the race. It was kind of half dozen one way, 6 out of 12 out of the other. I felt like that maybe Eklund could have stayed a little tighter in that corner, and that's a very fast corner. So Zebo probably could have given a little bit of room, but I can't say I didn't see it coming because Eklund got a good run around the outside of turn 1, and I figured with it this late in the race, he's going to try and stick with it. Meanwhile, we have the white flag out. We're on lap 24 as Koumans leads the way. We're going to keep half an eye on him and try to call the win when he comes around. Rato still holding on to second with Uros Gelankos still got Yao Freitas right behind him, and Zhao's not giving up, but I don't think he's close enough, and with that damaged car, he's probably not going to get an opportunity if we're going to be honest, Richard.
No, I don't think so. He definitely has to fight the car. The car's understeering very, very badly, so every corner he goes into, he's got a battle to try and keep the car on the road. Uros, who might have a bit of damage himself, is certainly in a good third place at the moment. Rato doing it easy, and Jan Koumans, the master, he's really done some magic here today, Joe.
Yeah, and let's just hop back real quick. I see Jake Tucker all over the back of Richard Eklund, who goes very wide coming through Atwood Corner. And it looks like, Jake has a very good run, and he's got the draft too, so he might be able to make something happen. I'm still keeping that half an eye on Koumans, who's still coming around. Let's hold on to this battle up into the hairpin at least. Eklund goes defensive. He's going to try and hold on to that 9th place position, and Tucker goes very wide, so that's probably going to seal that deal. He's not going to be able to get a good enough run. So back up to Koumans we go. 2 more corners, comes around that penultimate Mark Knight corner and that very cleverly named last corner, turn 11. It looks like once again Koumans defies all logic and all of our expectations and takes the win as he comes across the line at Okayama International Circuit for yet another win. Meanwhile, behind him we see Guillermo Raito taking home a well-earned second, and Uros Gelankos for a very well-earned podium himself, guys.
Yeah, is that Uros' first podium? I think so. Yao Freitas hung on there for 4th place, so that was a really good drive from him. Jay Yanis slowing his car down now, 5th place. Amjad Yaman, he was the winner out of that little melee that occurred between Eklund and Zebo. He got 6th place. Trevor Mack, a well-earned 7th. Richard Eklund did actually finish in 8th place as they're all on the front straight now, crashing and burning. Jake Tucker, Joe, good drive from him. He's into the wall somewhere as well in celebration. Sounds like they all wrecked their cars after they crossed the line. Simon van Doon is in fact in 10th place, so we'll leave it at that, Joe.
Yes, congratulations to the top 10 for really keeping it on the road and keeping out of trouble. Very well earned for those guys. Arthur Chan just missed out on that with 11th, it looks like. Joseph Arrow ran a fairly good race, who's usually a farther back mid-packer, to take home 12th. So definitely good stuff from a lot of guys around here. Before we go, let's just run through the top 10 just as a reminder. Jan Koumans in 1st with another win. Guillermo Raito taking home 2nd. Uros Gelankos taking home his 1st podium, we believe. Zhao Freitas struggling with damage but still finishing 4th. Jer Janis in 5th. Amjad Yaman taking home 6th. The Big Mac, Trevor Mack, coming in 7th. Richard Eklund in 8th. Jake Tucker in 9th. And Simon Van Doon in 10th. Let's head to break. We'll be back with some interviews real quick. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. We just witnessed an exciting race for round 7 for the Blondies MX5 World Tour at Oka International Circuit. And despite all expectations, we still had Jan Koemans win. But meanwhile, a little farther back in the pack, finishing 8th, we had Richard Eklund, who was really fighting hard for a top 5 finish for quite a while. And then it all kind of went sour at the end there, Richard. What happened between you and Zebo?
Between me and Zabo, I'm not sure. Well, I know what happened. He turned down on me. I guess it's as simple as that. But before that, I had a 15-second stop and hold penalty in the pit window. I came in second right behind Yao, and then after that, I was like 20 seconds behind Yao after the pit stop, so that really hurt me. I looked at the replay, and I don't know what I did other than, or what I did differently that the other guys didn't do, but I don't understand that penalty at all. It was really frustrating.
That's very unusual. We were wondering how you had so much of a slower stop because we were watching, and you definitely got jumped. But as far as the championship goes, it seems like you're kind of fighting and clawing for everything, and everything's fighting against you. Do you think you could maybe work your way up the points later on in the season? Are there any tracks that you fancy coming up?
This, I think, was my favorite track on the schedule. There aren't too many tracks that I enjoy on the schedule. The next track that I would have liked is Silverstone, but I'm going to be missing that one. So we'll have to see how it goes. But I think the championship is starting to slip away from me with these bad results.
Yeah, unfortunately, it definitely hurts you in the way the Blondies points works. Well, we're looking forward to talking to you next week. Will you be around for the next race?
Yeah, I'm planning to be here next week. Not sure where the track is, but I should be participating.
All right, well, we'll see you then. Meanwhile, we do have the winner of the race waiting in the wings as well. Richard, would you like to talk to Jan Koemans?
Certainly. Jan, are you there? Jan's just coming in. Jan, can you hear us there?
Yes, I can. Richard, good evening.
Good evening to you, my friend. Jan, funny race, wasn't it? Tell us about it.
Well, it was just tough, really. I'm not sure how much of it I remember. I came in very late into qualifying because I had a different place I had to be, so I only got 1 or 2 laps in. Fortunately, I made it to the quick 6, and then at the start, I think I was behind Timo for a while. And I always struggle to drive close behind somebody because you just don't see your braking points and your lines get all messy. So I took quite a lot out of my tires trying to get past Timo. And then João Freitas kept me honest for a very long time until my tires went off even more, and I went really wide out of one of the turns, and we spun and made contact. And after that, I just pushed as hard as I could into the pits, out of the pits, and somehow I won. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, we were trying to figure that out as well. So it's lap 12, sort of halfway through the race, and you had that accident there with João Freitas. And then you went into the pits, and you were completely under the radar after that. And we were concentrating on Guillermo Raito, Uros Gelankos, and Freitas. They were really up the top there. And then all the pit stops started to happen. They all shake out, and everybody comes back out, and somebody says, "Hey, Jan Koemans is in the lead." And we don't know, just like you, we don't know how it happened.
Well, I knew that if I pitted earlier, if the guys would stay out a few laps, I would have the advantage of having fresh tires on the left side, which probably, I mean, from my lap times, I think I probably went 5 or 6 tenths a lap faster. I just pushed as hard as I could because I knew I was pretty close to them, so I had a chance to jump them in the pits if I could use the tires and not get the traffic too much, which worked very well because I think I only had to pass 2 cars and they moved over pretty well. And I slightly short fueled it. Just to save time, because usually I end up with 1 lap too much fuel, so I figured I'd take 1 less, and I just about made it. I had 1 or 2 corners of fuel left, so it was just pushing hard and getting a bit lucky with the fuel.
Yeah, and how was the car handling in the last 5 laps or so, because it looked pretty damaged?
Yeah, the main problem I had was, I mean, the steering was okay, just the tires on the right hand side were completely gone. So I was really struggling in left-hand turns because I would just have massive understeer that slowed me down. But I had a good battle trying to stay ahead of Guillermo in the last couple of laps. He was pretty strong, also because his tires were a bit fresher. But anyway, at least Guillermo won the little bet on the forums now.
Yeah. Well, a good win for you there, Jan. Probably a much needed one because looking at the championship points, you've fallen down a little bit there, or fallen back, I should say, a little bit. So this win will help things along. Congratulations, a great win from you, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Richard. See you guys in 2 weeks, because next week I'll sadly be somewhere in the south of France.
Oh, it's too
Okay,
bad.
that's fine. We will look forward to that. Back to you, Joe.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
South of France, that's tough.
Yeah, I wish I could be south of France too. Meanwhile, we have one more person. We have Arthur Chan waiting for an interview, who finished in 11th today, which is a pretty good result considering how the rest of the season has gone for him. Arthur, are you happy with 11th?
Yeah, definitely reasonably happy with this race. I think I got the most out of myself for this, and moving up 6 places, certainly can't complain about that.
We didn't see a whole lot of you on the broadcast, unfortunately, but we did see you had a fairly good battle with Simon Van Doon for a bit. How did that go?
Well, that was near the tail of the race. I was slowly able to make progress up to the field a little bit until I caught up to Simon. When I caught up to Simon was actually right around the time when I realized I was going to be short on fuel. I was watching my display tick down, and it looked like it was going to be very, very close. And I started trying to follow Simon, trying to lift at the end of the straights and take advantage of his draft. But the funny thing is that he actually started making some more errors, and he actually spun off at one point, and I inadvertently passed him, and I just had to save so much fuel I ended up basically letting him by again.
Oh, that stinks. Well, thanks for coming and talking to us real quick. Will we see you next week?
Yeah, I definitely should be here next week. Looking forward to it, as I am every race.
All right. Well, good luck next week then.
Thanks, Joe.
Well, guys, this was definitely an exciting one and an unpredictable one, and yet it still came out how it usually does. Richard, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I enjoyed watching this race. It was a torrid battle up at the front end, and certainly in the middle as well. You had guys like Richard Eklund involved in Amjad Yaman, involved in a lot of battles, and it turned out well for Jan Koolmans. So a good race for him. Probably a bit unexpected, and a bad race for some of the other guys, or not so good race with a lot of damage this week with this very, very tight track. So, the guys probably will be glad to see the end of this race and to get on and prepare for next week.
No doubt. Bill, what did you think about this one?
2 quick thoughts. I was doing this old school with a pen and paper and clipboard, and I have a list of names here of drivers to keep an eye on, and I'm going to scan this and post it. Yeah, it's Jan Koolmans with a big scratch off there when he crashed. We're done with him. Don't need to pay attention to him. I've learned my lesson on that. And the second thing is we every week we have a Blondies Today posts a little wager, and this week it was Jan Koolmans against the field, and everybody took the field except one driver, and that driver was Guillermo Raito, who finished second. He knew that Koolmans was too much for him this week.
So he has enough of a high opinion to not bet against even his own competitor.
Or maybe he could have got Koolmans, but he didn't want to lose the bet.
So championship points or some fictional money? Well, as we close up, we want to thank some people. We obviously thank you, Bill, for joining us and for organizing this league. Thank you to Blondies Bar in Long Beach, the organizer in California, the sponsor in California, who does a lot to make sure that this series happens and obviously gives it his title name. We want to thank some of the software and hardware that we use, iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, and AverMedia for help making this broadcast possible. Also thanks to our GSRC team, everyone who comes in and puts in the time to make this happen. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find us at www.globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at GSR Channel and tweet us during the race where we'll try to answer your questions. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. A special thanks to Eric Ekholm, who provided us with the music you heard tonight. You can find Eric's music not only here on GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you like our music, tell him where you heard it at ericekholm.com. We'd also like to thank Dexter Britton, who provides us with additional music and has a lot of great music with NASA, TED Talks, and McLaren. Listen or buy his music at dexterbritton.co.uk. Our next broadcast in the Blondie series will be at 11 a.m. Pacific time next Saturday. And I actually don't have the correct race written down for that because we are not at Okayama again. But join us for that regardless. Also join us for the next race, the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series, which will be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway a week from now. Until then, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.